The Culture Crew, the Culture Crew. Come and have a listen to the Culture Crew. The large ass town, the monkey too. Come and have a listen to the Culture Crew. Culture Crew, the Culture Crew. Put Dessatin all over you. Make your ass crack feel like new. Come and have a listen to the Culture Crew.
Fuck. Oh my fucking.
So how you doing?
I'm fine. I'm good. How are you? How was Iceland?
It was awesome. It was very cool. That was great. Finland was great. And everything. You know what? Let's do this since I'm like choking on smoke here, right?
Oh yeah, it's pretty smoky over there. We had that last week.
Yeah. Excuse me.
Do you run when it's smoky?
I would. I did yesterday. Yesterday, it was so stupid. I didn't even know. I'll tell you what, we're saving this for the podcast. Well, no, fuck it. It's the podcast now.
I thought it was recording.
It is. Yes. Yesterday I ran and I was like, wow, it is just like really dreary. Like I thought it was going to hail because of the color of the sky. And I was like not putting together the fact that it was all smoke.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought that, and it did rain a little bit just as we were starting a couple, I went and ran with the Ramblers, like Jamie Myler's group and,
Mm-hmm.
and all of them. So saw Sandy Barbells and some others. So it was a lot of fun, but I didn't catch on to the fact that it was not like, I don't know. I didn't know what was going on. And then my wife said, look at the sun. It's all the smoke from Canada. And I was like, I smell smoke. Duh. Oh my God. Of course that's what it is. So it took a while.
I had the exact same experience. Like got up, did my run early morning. I was like, oh, it's foggy because it was rainy here too. And I was like, oh, it's foggy, but did not put together anything until I got back and saw on Twitter, like the AQIs and we're not supposed to go outside. And I was like, what?
All that, right?
Then, yeah.
My gosh. So how far did you run?
On that day, like a while ago or today?
Yeah. A while ago.
Just like an hour.
An hour. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's cool. So some people run farther, like
112 miles.
112 miles. Yeah. And some of them, it took them even like probably 241 minutes, I think.
Oh, yes.
You think so?
I think I know where we're going with this.
You do. And here we go.
Culture Trail Running Podcast. Running. Culture.
All right. Well, welcome everybody to the Culture Trail Running Podcast. I'm your host, Art Byram, and I am joined today by Ellie Pelle, right?
Hi.
Hey, Ellie. So we've already said hi, but hi again, an official hi. So for the people who are just joining, Culture Trail Running Podcast is a place where we can get together and discuss all the fun shit that happens on the trails that most normal people don't care about. Our headquarters are located in the belly of the Beast Coast, Glastonbury, Connecticut. So most of our stories involve Northeast running or Northeast trail runners. The language we use is explicit and raw, like the trails we run on. So do not listen to this with your kids. So tonight we got a lot of stuff happening. We're going to have a couple different people on, all mysteries, and all of them connected to the CUT112. So you can feel free to interrogate them about what the deal is, and we're going to have some fun. So you ready?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this.
All right. Very good. So listen, first up, I have somebody that is near and dear to us joining, right? And here she comes. It is, drum roll, please.
The
winner. It's Jessica Crandall. Welcome.
Hi, thank you.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing great. How are you feeling?
Surprisingly okay. I think.
Surprisingly okay. All right.
Yeah, I think it's just the being mostly tired and the poison ivy that all just appeared yesterday. But
Yeah, I think that's going to be a common theme. So
yeah, it always gets me a few days later. So it's
yeah. So I'm sure that a lot of people are listening who ran the cut and or were crewing or just kind of hanging around stealing the food of other people. So what do you have any tips for poison ivy? What do you do?
Oh God. Clearly I don't know because I ran through it all and then just have to deal with the consequences.
Okay. All right. Wow. So I'm Ellie, do you ever get poison ivy or no?
I never have, at least not to my knowledge, but I do get like when I moved to Colorado, like during the winter, maybe like a month or two ago, I was like supremely itchy a lot, but I think that was due to like the dryness here.
Yeah.
So I didn't grow up in a place that had ample poison ivy. So I haven't suffered.
I
Wow.
hope you never do.
That's just not right. I mean, that's pretty good though. I mean, good for you. But I've gotten a lot of poison ivy. So my mom used to make jewel weed. Like so there's a plant that's out there. It's green and it has these little golden flowers on it. And when you run into it, it has these seeds that like these pods that like explode. And
I know what you're talking about.
Shoot
It's
seeds
so
all over
fun.
the place.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's called jewel weed. And if you take that, that's really good for poison ivy. That'll help. You can either make a tea out of it and rub it on your poison ivy, like blot it on with cotton swabs or whatever, or you can just take the plant itself and scratch it on, so
I'll go look for
maybe
some.
that's my secret. Cause like I used to play in that stuff a lot when I was little. I probably ate a lot of it. Like, maybe that's it. I just have like I have immunity.
Ellie, the jewel. Ellie.
The jewel weed.
Yes. Here comes jewel weed. Oh yeah. So I also like Technu. That's another favorite over the counter.
I did buy some of that. So
yeah.
Trying to scrape it off, but
I always thought that Technu should sponsor a running team, right?
They really should.
Yeah. Wow. So tell us about the CUT112. What was it like? Like, why did you sign up for it to start with?
So I think since I started trail running and ultras, seems like the races that really kind of scare me the most are the ones that I tend to go for. So
sure. Yeah.
But just the idea of going across the entire state. I mean, I don't know, to connect all those trails seemed pretty cool and challenging. And I like that.
Yeah. No doubt. It is a cool, I think the nature of the race alone, even if it weren't on epic trails, right?
Right.
It would be like a challenge in the distance, and it would be a challenge in, it's just a cool route to look at on Strava, right?
Yeah, definitely. And it seemed like a big party, like of traveling just little.
Yeah. Speaking of a big party, welcome to Evil Becky Burke. How you doing, Beck?
Hi, Becky.
Good. Hi, Ellie. So nice to see you.
Good to see you too.
And I can't wait to hear all about Miss Jessica Crandall's wonderful race. I'm so excited to hear all about it because you did phenomenal. Yay.
Oh. Well, I'm sorry. I feel like I missed you because you had such a big crew around you at the start. So I get very shy in big rooms. So
oh no, I the whole thing was a mess for me. So it's all good. So.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But-
So while we have Jess on, because Beck, I definitely want to talk to you about your your experience there and stuff. But I kind of want to hear from Jess a little bit. Like,
yes,
yeah,
I do too.
So you take on races that scare you. So how scared were you? The more, like, I know your preparation was good because Becky and I went out for a 20 and thought that we kicked ass and everything. And then we got back and we saw like, oh, so we didn't get any segments even for the
No.
day because like Jess like
Oh.
took them on by half, you know. So she
I
you know,
liked the training. I liked being able to go out on all the different segments. Like it was just really cool to be able to go there over and over and just learn where everything was and what parts that were going to hurt and what parts to look forward to.
So how did it go? Like how with your training? Because I know your training was, to my knowledge, was pretty solid, right?
I think so.
Yeah, I think results, right? I mean, that doesn't happen by accident, what you did. So how did you feel?
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you
No,
mind
go
if I
ahead.
just jump right in and interrupt? Had you done the whole course, like every segment, or were there any pieces of it that you hadn't seen prior to the race?
The only part I didn't do was the first segment. So the first like 7.5 miles.
Mhm.
Well,
Oh,
you're
right.
still sleeping then, so those are
You know,
3 miles. Like the
it
first
was
hour,
light out.
you're
My
just
brain was
like,
working. I'm like, I could figure it out.
Absolutely.
Wow.
That's a good one to
Wow.
miss, right?
Yeah.
So
That was a
Yeah.
nice session.
So
So-
was there, I'm sorry.
no, go ahead, Becky.
All right. All right. So one more question, then I'll let or ask a question, just kind of along
we're-
those same lines.
We're
What?
we're just gonna say, just before I have to interrupt you, but first though, we're gonna say Ellie just had a couple minutes just to come in and say hi.
yeah, I just
so
want to say good job to you
Oh!
guys. Yeah, I just want to say good job. I'm sorry, I can't. But like Jessica, I like was following it. I'm so like very mad impressed. And
Oh, thank you. That
yeah.
means a lot. Thank you.
and
Yes.
before you go, so Ellie also wanted to give the big announcement tonight, right?
Oh.
About next year. So and the CUT112. So go ahead.
Oh, am I doing it or something?
I
So
think
it's the
so.
same day as
You
Cayuga.
are?
Okay.
Oh my God,
I
she's
want-
doing that. She's gonna run the CUT112.
Oh,
Instead of-
I'm totally fine with this.
Oh my
Listen,
gosh.
I have like mental telepathy was like, yeah, and she will not be at Cayuga. And he's like, okay, it's all good.
I want to
cleared
go
it.
back to Cayuga so bad. All right, we'll see what
It is
happens.
an awesome race, I have to say. I loved that course.
We'll have to see what happens because
Okay,
I
that's a
don't
good
know.
excuse. If you're
I
there,
don't know what I'm
that's-
doing tomorrow. Which
Okay.
I just
All right. Okay. I'm just
like today, like I was all ready to do this whole thing, and then something, of course, came up with work. So it's like, great, awesome.
okay.
So anyway, great job, Jessica and Becky. I can't wait to listen and hear everything about it. But I will stop monopolizing this podcast.
No, that's good.
Aw,
Thanks, Ellie.
I
Good
miss
to
you.
see you.
I miss you too. Bye.
We'll see you soon in a mile and a half.
Aw.
All right.
Sorry, like literally leave it to me. I come in and just bulldoze over everything. But I'll just get back in that bulldozer and keep plowing. Okay, so here's my question. So were there any sections that, having done them in the race, that seemed either more difficult or less difficult than you had expected from when you did them in training?
It's a very small, the part where after you come off a bluff before you get to the Monunketuck, because Bluff was like, I started to feel better over Bluff's Head and I felt great. And then all of a sudden you come down and then you have to do those little ups and downs. And before you got to the Monunketuck where you can kind of cruise for a while, it was, yeah.
That you're right.
like-
That is a tough section of trail there. And it is, I have to say it somehow hasn't gotten me so much, but I'm always like, okay, now where's the Monunketuck? Come on now. I know it's going to be easy, but then that last little section you go across and you have a tight little punchy climb. And then it's all these little, they're almost like assaults on castles. They're like, you're running through these moats. And if you trip, you're just going to snap your leg right in half. Right.
Mm-hmm. And it's
You
like
know.
what, 1.5 miles, but it was just at that timing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But everything else
so-
I anticipated the difficulty. So
What was your most embarrassing moment of the race?
God.
Yeah, here's some question art.
I don't know. I mean, I wasn't really embarrassed, but my stupidest moment was in the middle of the night through the section from after Castle Craig before you get to Orchard Road. That not an awful section, but I ran into a tree, just head first hit a tree across the. So I was with my husband who was pacing me then, so I guess it was good timing. So
Oh my gosh.
no
Ouch.
reason. I mean, he saw it. I just wasn't paying attention, and
Oh,
Yeah.
And
Wow.
he didn't call out Low Bridge?
After that, he did.
Okay. All
No.
right. I've done that a bunch of times, and at
Yeah.
least you have hair to cover it up, right? So with me, like that can be pretty devastating. So
And this was your, as I was just cheating and looking at your ultra sign up because I couldn't remember whether you had done 1 or 200s before. And so you did Vermont.
Mhm.
And that was your first. And this is your second
Yeah.
100 plus, really. So what would I mean, there's obviously some big differences, but having gone from this being your second one and having one under your belt, like what things do you think that you learned and kind of took from that Vermont experience into this one?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, totally different races, and just I think the planning and making sure I had everything I needed. And in Vermont, I just had one person as my crew, and then one pacer came in later. So just the way the cut is, you need probably more than that. So I definitely got better. I mean, I had Brian Vanderheiden as my other crew member, and his strategy at the 8 stops was I didn't think I could move that quickly through them. So that
I could
was
totally
big
see
difference.
that. He seems like the ideal person to have as like a crew or a pacer. Like he just seems so like he knows what he's doing. He's like got it all like boom, boom, boom. Like he knows what you need
Yeah.
before you know.
Yeah. And I think at Vermont, I moved pretty quickly through the 8 stations, but nothing like this. Cause I think they anticipated everything I needed and just did it. And I was just off.
yeah. Oh my gosh. So you had talking about your crew, you had a very tight crew there. They were, a lot of support, and from your pacers to, just when you went in there, it was kind of like a little NASCAR deal. It was like, I think I said to somebody that your crew was like as if Vikings had were in a NASCAR team, because you had like all your shield maidens,
Yeah.
and they were all like,
So
just
what was that? Because obviously I didn't see any of that. So what was your, who was your crew and what was your, what was your setup and your game plan?
So I had my crew who was with me in Vermont, Nicole. I've known her since we were like 15 years old. So we go way back. So she just started trail running over the past year. So she's really gotten into it. She loves the atmosphere. And so she was with me in Vermont and had a blast. So then and then Brian came on. He had said he would help because he was going to help somebody else in the race too, but then I guess he decided not to run. So he jumped on and handled all the finer details. And then all my pacers had my husband and then 2 of my, good friends. Everybody did like a 10-mile section. And then 2 of my husband's friends one is a really, really good road runner and the other one is a Ironman. So,
Wow.
so very strong. And I spent half the time apologizing for the pace we were going, but they were all just so excited to be involved. So it was nice. I think it was a perfect team, and it couldn't have been more, positive experience because everyone's just so happy to be there,
Yeah. So
And when did your pacer start with you?
So Brian jumped in pace 2. He started around mile 30.
Okay.
Yeah.
So right, the Farmington MDC.
Yeah. Yeah.
So as you were doing this now, what goals did you have going into it? Or you have, what were your goals?
3rd place overall, first woman. That's the time.
Exactly that. You nailed it. No. Honestly, my ultimate goal was just to finish, and I did want to finish before sundown on Saturday. But then, kind of looking back at the training, I figured I could do somewhere in the 30 to 32-ish hour range. So I didn't expect to go under 30. So that was definitely kind of mind blowing, but
yeah,
that was awesome.
For our
really
listeners, you're the first female to ever go under 30 hours. And like, it was just it was a pleasure to watch you run. I mean, you just were, you were just in the groove, with it. So congratulations on that. So could you just bring us through like, I assume like, maybe break it into quarters and like how you felt in each quarter of it.
Yeah. I mean, I'd say the first, I was definitely worried I was pushing it too hard, but I was trying to make sure I didn't feel like I was pushing it. So, anytime I felt my heart rate go up, I'd pull back a little bit. Kept ice on me. So as soon as, I think somewhere between the first and the second aid station, they had ice, just shoved in a bandana. And that made a big difference. I mean, the more ice I could keep on me, the better. So that was, I feel like Friday, I don't know. Friday, I was just trying to get through till sundown or till the storm started to get some relief from the heat. But then the climbs start as you go through past Farmington, and then, that got a little tough because then it got humid. But then that's when Brian had jumped in. So that was kind of helpful. Or that was very helpful, I should say, not kind of helpful. And I don't know, I thought I was doing okay nutrition wise, but Brian and Nicole were trying to sneak extra calories in me with, double strength scratch and just shoving stuff in my vest. Like I didn't even know what I was carrying half the time. So I was just pull something out and try
That's
to get
a good crew.
Yeah.
Oh, it is definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. By the time I hit Rogers Orchard, so my stomach was kind of off. So I just had a ginger ale, and that seemed to really turn things around. That and a protein drink or like a shake, so that helped. And then by the time we got to Hubbard Park, we had just gotten to the top by the radio towers. And then Julia was with us at the time too. And she just happened to ask if I wanted it to rain. And as soon as I said a little rain would be nice, it just started pouring. And then by the time we got to Castle Craig, it was like, it wasn't even puddles. It was just like 2 inches of water across the whole like pavement there. So that was interesting. And that's when we started going back and forth with Jamie too. So I didn't expect to see her. Because she took a few wrong turns, which especially in the dark and the rain is really easy to do around there.
Oh, no.
And
So we
this was
started
up on Castle Craig?
Yeah. And let's see, then my husband jumped in after that. So he took me through the night. He took me basically to Gaitas, which was good. So we were kind of, mellow. The rain stopped. I ran into a tree and
Gotcha.
that's God, I'm losing track now.
So how was it from, say, like after, like once you got on the Mononkatuk, maybe you could just kind of bring us to the finish line from there.
Yeah. So it was kind of ugly up until then. So I mean, I felt pretty good, and I felt like I was moving. It was just keeping calories in. So I think from there to the end, it was like coffee whenever I can get it, drinking water and scratch, and then just potato chips. But my legs felt better. I had a lot of blisters that were forming before Tri-Mountain that seemed to dry out. So somehow my feet came back around, which helped.
Wow.
But
did
then
you do any sock changing, shoe changing, or
I changed my shoes. I went through 3 pairs of shoes and 4 pairs of socks.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you think that helped to turn your feet around? Like, had you not changed those, do you think you would have?
Definitely. Yeah. So I probably had the wrong socks on for most of the race, and the last pair finally helped.
Gotcha. So how did it feel? What was the feeling when you finally got to the road? At the end,
just relief.
Yeah.
I'm just so relieved.
It's kind of like the Wizard of Oz, right? Like, we're out of the woods. We're out of the.
Yeah, because I was dreading. I was like, running on the road for 4 miles at the end is going to be so painful. By the time we got there, I was like, oh my God, this is wonderful.
Oh yeah, it is. It's like I always equate that to like the final leg of the Tour de France, going through Paris. Sipping champagne.
Yeah.
So did you take the elevator?
I did. Yeah. I didn't take it
move.
anytime I did it in training, but for the race I did.
Okay.
Yeah, you gotta say it sounds like you have to. It's just
I mean, it sounded like it was part of the course, so I didn't want
It
to.
is. It is.
I know. I didn't think there was an option to not take the elevator.
It is technically optional, but you get style points it's also technically I can DQ anybody I want, really. So it's your choice, no pressure.
I think half my crew didn't realize there was an elevator on the course, so they got the picture of me in it, and they're all confused.
Oh yeah, that's great. That is great. Well, I wanted to congratulate you, Jess, on a great run. It was,
Thank you.
It was so awesome to see you out there, and just, it's really impressive to see someone as strong as you are, and just like dig and get traction and go. So congratulations to you on this resume win there. It's it is quite the accomplishment. So
Thank you so much. I mean, I'm still just, it was such a good experience. So
great.
I thank you just as much.
Oh, you're welcome. So and I got to ask you, just as we wrap it up, what's next for you? Do you have, I know it's soon, but do you have anything on your calendar yet, or no?
Doing it again tomorrow in the other direction.
Yeah. I actually signed up for Twisted Branch. In August.
Nice.
Because I wanted to get away. I do want to eventually, hopefully, get into Western states. So I figured that would be the qualifier.
Okay. Yeah, we're purposely, actually Western states qualifier, or actually we're now accepting Western states as a qualifier. Maybe. I don't know. We're considering it. At least they have their application in. We'll have to let you know. I mean, you can't just go in with that.
Qualify you for the cut.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. We're considering them. They put in their application. We're reviewing it. We'll have to let you know. So it might, but you won. So I think you get to come back to the cut anytime you want. So
I'll keep that in mind.
All right.
Well, you picked a good races. I've heard so many wonderful things about that race. Yeah.
I'm excited. It's something different.
Well, Jess, have a great night. And thank you so much for coming and joining us here. And again, congratulations on a job well done.
Oh, thank you so much. I can't wait to hear everybody else's stories too.
Yeah, very good.
All right.
Okay. Have a great night.
All right. You too. Thank you.
Okay. Yep. Bye.
Bye.
All right. Well, that was really nice, huh?
Oh, all three of them were in at the same time.
Yes. We have
Whoa.
a triple header coming in here. The invasion. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, and we have a mystery guest who is just backlit. We can't even see who it is. It is that mysterious man from France, the man wielding a baguette.
Oh, when you said a mysterious guest, I'm like, what right now?
He does not.
I don't.
He's eating all the bread in the house.
Yeah, I do.
They actually ate it all on the cut.
Yes. So we have.
Do you have your cut sweatshirt on? You both have your cut sweatshirt.
Oh, who's out here?
Oh no.
He wore his last night, so so Jacque has
that's actually true.
Thing. So let me introduce everybody. So we have Jacque Sarbaach joining us, along with Jamie Myler.
No one can see my hand wave.
And yes, she's giving. That's right. We have to use our
doing jazz
outside
hands.
voices here. And Lee Davis, who just doffed his hat at us.
He lifted a hat.
I had to get my bucket hat, my adventure bucket hat.
There you go.
And Jamie's dog.
A cameo appearance by who now?
Oh,
Fiona.
Fiona. All right. So listen, guys, congratulations to you all. I got to see each of you guys run some over the weekend at the cut. So maybe we could start with Lee. Maybe what was it like for you, sir?
What was it like?
Yeah.
Well, jumping off a cliff. This was my first 100.
Wow.
Yeah. So
It's a really good
wait. What the fuck happened?
Art, I thought you vetted these things.
I thought I did too.
Art.
Oh my gosh. Really? Congratulations on
No, so I was kind of good. I felt like I was going into this blind. I talked to a lot of people. I did a lot of research, as Jacque and Jamie can attest, I trained for this really hard, starting in January. And, I had a microscope, looking at every inch of the trail. So I was, I was
stressing us out.
Yeah. Oh man. and I just wanted to make sure, physically, like, I could do everything I could to prepare myself for the race. I was like, eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and, solid foods on my training run, which, by the way, did absolutely nothing for me. No, so it was basically kind of just like just seeing what would happen, and just trying to get over like all the like mental things that happen during a really long race.
Yeah.
Did you did you do a lot of all of the course beforehand? Like, had you seen all parts, or were there any parts of the course that you hadn't done?
No, I made sure, there was no surprises. And I know
great.
Jamie and Jacque kind of have different feelings about it, which they can talk about. But for me, like, I don't know, I'm like kind of a kind of a cautious person. I don't like too many surprises. I'm not like a manly man. Don't let the beard fool you. I'm not a huge risk taker, so I like to know what I'm getting into when I jump into these.
Well, it sounds like you were very prepared, and I think that's a smart thing to do, especially not just that it was your first 100, but because of the type of training, I guess, that this course was, that it wasn't, so technical.
So as prepared as you were, was there anything that surprised you? What weren't you prepared for?
Well, so this was my first overnight. I had no idea what was going to happen at nighttime. I was kind of gaming it out beforehand. How was I going to feel at nighttime? Was I going to hike the whole thing? Was I going to try to, keep up with Jacque and run some of the nighttime, hike up the hills and, run the flats and the downhills? So, first of all, we had that darn 90-degree heat. Like for the first, what was it, like 8 hours, 10 hours of the, Friday. And when I got to Edgewood, man, I was hurting. I was kind of like discombobulated. Like I asked my pacers and crew, like, tell me like funny things that I was doing. Cause I was like kind of out of it. And like, so one person said, like, Lee got there and he's like, all the like, there was a lot of crew there and volunteers set up. It was just kind of like a circus. And I just got there and I was like, what do I do? Like, I was just like, I needed a minute just to like collect myself. And then I saw, just to, like, I saw Tyler there. And I think I called him Jeremy. And he was just like, oh my God, like, what's going on with this guy? Like, he's a hot mess right now. But I took, I was running with Jamie for the first, 50 miles, which was unanticipated, it was not expected.
So Jamie, let's talk to Jamie for a minute here. So what was it like to run with Lee for 50 miles? You can tell us.
So it was the worst.
He's not in the same room.
My gosh.
You can tell us. It's okay.
No, honestly, it was awesome. So I was so glad to be running with Lee because, I like Lee. And also, so Lee is a lot stronger and faster a runner than me. He's shaking his head no, but just stop. Like, no, that's silly. So part of me was like, oh my gosh, should I be running this fast right now? Because this is probably, if I'm running with Lee, I'm probably going faster than I should be. But I felt really, really good. And I felt like I wasn't pushing. And even now, I don't think I was pushing outside. I think Lee was probably being conservative. And it's funny you talking about like getting to the 50 and being like discombobulated and a hot mess and stuff, because on the trail, you were very like comfortable and running along and, didn't seem discombobulated at all. In that last like 1.5 mile stretch before you get to Edgewood, you were like just jogging way ahead. And I was like, how is he running that fast right now? This is impossible. So yeah, it looked really, really strong. And
we were joking around. I remember like I had red Gatorade and I was like kind of squirting it out of the bottle like I had a bloody nipple or something. And
Oh yeah, because I was running right behind him, and all of a sudden there was just like red spurting out the side. And I'm
Of
like,
course
we
there
were
was.
having
I
fun.
was like, oh my gosh, what is happening? He's like, oh, bloody nipple.
I have to say that, Lee, you seem to have as much fun as anybody that I saw out on the course. Like, you just seemed like you were just like, yeah, even at Edgewood, I saw you there and you were just like sitting up on, I don't know, I picture it like the back of a pickup truck. It was probably just somebody's tailgate and you had your shoes off and it was like, I don't know, it was like, yeah, we're just like hanging out here, like with our surfboards and everything.
One of my pacers was giving me a sponge bath. It was great. I
So,
didn't want to leave.
Wow,
So-
you got like
so
a
you
sponge bath.
two-
You got fed ramen. This is a pretty good day for
Wow.
you.
I
That
know.
that is pretty good.
So you guys hadn't planned to necessarily run together, but you did do you guys had done some training together. So you guys were familiar with each other's pace and stuff, and you did some training with Jacque too. So that must have been like a nice thing. Did you have like at that 50-mile mark, did you guys separate, or did you have like pacers at that point, or what?
Yeah, I think we just ended up running together kind of by happenstance. We just were that way.
Mhm.
You just kind of found yourself in the same pace
At
and it worked.
Edgewood, we picked up pacers, and I headed out before Lee, and I actually assumed you would catch me in like 2 minutes, like at most of the aid stations. But yeah, the three of us trained together quite a lot ever since like January. We did a lot of sections together.
Gotcha. Very good.
Simon had the ice, so I was following Jamie just to get the ice. I didn't have any daytime crew on Friday, so
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. So, that's a way to do it. So let's talk to Jacque here. So Jacque, you set the course record here
Yay!
on this. So congratulations to you
Woo!
on just a wonderfully executed race and a run. It was really cool watching you run. So what was maybe you want to just kind of share a little bit about what it was like and maybe some of the the weirdest shit you saw out there. Like let's just start with that, right? Because that's really what we want to hear. Like, so what was the weirdest shit you saw out there?
I guess is wildlife probably. Like I think like maybe 3 miles in, I saw a bear on the trail. So usually that's a good sign because I think I've seen a bear.
You saw
every
that 3
race.
miles in?
Yeah, about 3 miles in, I guess. Yeah, because it was before the first aid station, which like I don't even remember the name of the first aid station because the idea was just like go in and out. And but I guess it started like seeing a bear, then 2 snakes on the trail, a coyote, like a turtle. So yeah, just tons of wildlife.
You're like Dr. Seuss.
Yeah,
know,
it's
right?
Or
Honestly,
Dr. Dolittle.
he
I'm sorry.
attracts wildlife. He's like Cinderella.
Wow. Okay. I knew something, not Dr. Seuss. Dr. Dolittle is who I meant. So, but
I was
that's
wondering
awesome.
why that didn't sound right.
No, it didn't.
Dr.
But
Seuss.
yeah,
Um,
one fish. I don't know. So yeah. So you started out running quickly, but not alone, right, Jacque?
Yeah, so the idea, I think my idea was because I knew it was going to get really hot and I was going to slow down, I wanted to go out pretty hot and like get some miles in before it got like too hot outside. And initially I really thought I was going to run like most of the race with Lee and that we'd probably hang out until, halfway and then someone would feel better than the other and like maybe take off. But I ended up running probably about 20 miles with Matt, who was running the 60 miler and who had like some pretty bad chafing problem early on.
Oh,
Now, do you
I
know
was
this
telling me about
firsthand, or
this.
what's the deal there?
Yeah, I think once we reached the first aid station, Matt was already saying, it's like, oh, I don't know why, like my legs are already chafing. Like, it's the first time that this happened to me. And that was like 5 miles in. I was like, dude, we have 10 times this to do. I don't know how this is gonna go for you. And like he didn't have anything. Like, well, he didn't have a shirt to begin with.
That's right. Yes.
I love that he didn't have a shirt. Like,
We're we're going to get to talk to him later tonight. So we're going to get to the bottom of
nice.
this. So if you have any questions, let us know right now and we'll ask them. My first question, I already know what it's going to be.
Yeah,
It's going to be, what the fucking fuck? That's my question. I'm going to ask it. So,
Well, have you seen the rest of the stuff he's done? He did
Oh.
100-miler the next day.
yes. And that's
Sorry,
the question.
sorry, that might be a
Spoiler
spoiler.
alert.
Put us after you do him.
Yeah. No, we're going to ask him. We're going to get
I want
to
to know
that.
what his core routine is. The dude like pops out at the entrance, like with his like patriotic shorts and a 6-pack, and like, I want to
Made
do
all
it.
the runners feel bad.
Yeah. So yeah, we're going to get to all those questions. Those are all valid questions there. So
So honestly, in the beginning, we're like jogging along and saw like Jacque take off. That's normal. And then like Matt take off too. And we're like, don't do it, bro. It's a trap. But he ran fast. He hung on the whole time. So wow, kudos to him.
yeah.
I think we stayed together until probably Rogers Orchard, where I went out and he came in the aid station, and which is good because then like my crew at least wasn't alone at the parking lots, because I was starting to feel bad because they didn't really join the party at all the different meeting points. I'm sure that for people crewing me, I'm sorry for them, because it must have felt lonely at times.
I had the same problem from the other end. So
Yeah. So let's talk about this for just a second. So you guys kind of like talked. So you ran together. Lee and Jamie ran together. So had you guys talked about running together at all, or no?
No, not at all. I think the first time I met Matt was at Traprock this year.
Mhm.
And we chatted a little bit. And to be fair, I had totally forgotten he was going to run like the CUT112. So I was a bit surprised, but then when I saw him, I was like, oh yeah, I remembered like him mentioning that. But no, I didn't really expect to run with him. As I said, I really expected to run with Lee more than Matt. And I think just naturally we had more or less the same pace, although he was going much faster at the beginning, especially in the downhills where I wanted to be like really conservative, not to blow up my quads or anything.
Yeah.
And I think naturally we just got in the same rhythm, and it was just nice to have company, because I knew that until mile 50, where I would pick up like pacers for the first time, it would be a long, like a very lonely run if I had to go through a lot of the heat and everything just by myself. So
Oh, sure. So but Lee and Jamie, now, had you guys talked about running together at all, or did you say, well, maybe we'll run together? Or
No, definitely not. Because honestly,
no.
I did not think I'd be anywhere in Lee's space.
Oh, gotcha.
It was pretty consistent with our training though. Usually like when we would go for a run, Jacque would just like take off and run up the hills, and me and Jamie would be kind of like in the dust, just just kind of keeping
And
up.
discussing like,
Yes.
does he know he's alone up there? Is he talking to us and he doesn't know?
I just remember when I remember on
on
East Rock watching Jacque run up the mountain, and then just to try, he was up looking for Simon, and all of a sudden I see something go by up in the top, and I'm like, oh, they have bicycles up there.
I'm like, no, that's Jacque.
As he was coming down, I swore somebody was on a bike, and it wasn't, So yeah, we had a feeling that this was in the cards, but well done to you. That was
Jacque
quite.
Jacque and Jamie, do you guys, when you guys race, do you find that like for like 50Ks that usually like the first half of the race you're usually with people, and like you're just kind of chatting and running kind of nicely, but then the second half is more like everybody kind of like chooses their race pace and grinds it out.
Yeah.
I was kind of surprised that happened on 100-mile or two. Like we were chatting for 50 miles and then separated, which was pretty nice.
So
Yeah.
you, Jacque, you said that you had planned for crew to join at mile 50. Jamie and Lee, when were you planning for your crew? I'm sorry if you already told me.
Same for me.
50. And you, Lee? Or did you not have pacers?
Nope, nighttime. I had people join me at like 8 o'clock.
All right, so yours was less about the location, but more about the time. You wanted people for,
Transition to
that-
nighttime,
that.
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, and you had someone during the daytime too. He joined us for a while, right, Nick?
Yeah, I had my guy Nick. He it was kind of like not really planned. He texted me earlier in the week. He's like, "Hey, can I support you?" And I was like, "Yeah, come out and run with me, like for however much you want." And so he did 15 miles on Friday, and then he had so much fun. He came back Saturday for another 5 miles. So it was really great to have him there.
I gotta say, it's crazy when with this event, especially because like you can go and run with somebody and then go home and sleep and then wake up the next day and come
And they're
back and it's
still
like,
going.
yeah, I think I'm gonna go for a run again. Yeah. And you show up and you're like, oh, huh, yeah, still going, where you wake up or you just like, it'll be like the middle of the night and you wake up and you're like, oh, I guess they're still out there, So it does take on a strange time. So Jamie, did anything surprise you out there?
Well, a lot of things surprised me. So, to be honest, like I had never had a race go really bad before. For me, most of my races, they had gone, you have the little ups and downs and whatever. And like mid-state was my first 100 and I had maybe an hour of like, oh, this sucks and I hate this. But then it really picked up and the whole race like was really, really positive. So for me, I think what was surprising was when things just went really, really south. And maybe I should have seen it coming because, I listened to you guys enough to know what happens here. But yeah, things went bad, mostly with my feet, to be honest. And I was just surprised by how bad they went and how slow things got and how just dark things got for a while.
Yeah, let's talk about
Ooh,
that. What was it
yeah.
like?
I want to hear about that.
Talk about the darkness here. What was
Yes.
seriously?
Let's dig
Because
into
what
the
was that like?
darkness.
Yeah.
No, it
Bring
was,
us to the dark side.
yeah, that sounds great. No, it was, not funny. So basically what happened for me, I was running really, really well, like probably an hour and a half ahead of the best pace that I thought I had. And I really still don't think I was pushing outside of my like limits. So, at that point I start thinking like, oh, I'm going to like do really, really well, better than I thought. So I was thinking, hey, maybe even break like 30 hours. That would be pretty amazing. So things went pretty smoothly. And even when the rainstorms came, I had Michael Lopresti Loop with me at the time. We were like cruising through Hubbard Park. We were getting lost like every 2 seconds, even though I'd been there a couple times, like I guess only 2 times before. So we kept going off trail. We saw Jessica a bunch of times throughout that. But it was still going good, moving pretty smoothly. But what happened, I ended up kicking a rock really hard with a toe that was slightly irritated already. And the toenail actually, this is gross, but it kind of like lifted a little bit and it was just so painful. Like I can't even describe. And so Michael's like, you okay? Okay. So we start jogging a couple of steps and I'm like, I'm not okay. So we sat down and like did some foot surgery on the trail there. But it only went so far and things just got really slow.
What kind of foot surgery do you do for that?
Well, we just, it was like MacGyver style. So it's like, what do you got in your pack? What do you got in your pack? I don't know. So
like a duct
I had
tape
some,
with a duct tape on a pencil.
So literally Michael has the duct tape on a pencil because of you. So we tried that. It wasn't sticking properly.
Okay.
But
Past the
I
expiration
had
date.
some, yeah, possibly. I had some rock tape for my knee. So we wrapped that around with a piece of a wipe from Michael's pack so that it wouldn't rip off my toenail.
Good. Yeah.
And yeah, we kind of patched it up and moved on. But basically anytime I touched an uneven surface, it was not the most pleasant.
Gotcha.
But
So-
Michael was so good. He was so like, he's such a
He's such a good
Good.
person to have in like.
Yeah.
not that
yeah,
I'm saying
honestly,
this
he's
was
just
crisis,
so rock
but
solid, and he's like,
yes, like
no,
he's the
this
kind of
isn't
person
the
you
end.
want.
Like, worst case, we cut the toe box off of your shoe, and I'm like, okay, we can do that. Yeah, good ideas all around.
So how were you mentally with this? Were you feeling like down? Like what did that, like, if you could verbalize
I was
that,
down.
what did
I
down
think
feel like?
the down was both because it hurt like a
Mhm.
lot, but also just like it had been going so well that
Mm.
now it wasn't. I was really slowing down, and just the mental part of like, okay, well, probably sub 30 is not in scope anymore.
Mhm.
That was hard. So
Yeah.
I was I'm not normally like a big crier type, but I was basically crying at the drop of a hat. Like,
Oh yeah.
someone mentions like, oh, don't worry, only, this many miles left, even though they're really, really short. I'm like, that's eternity. So from then on out, it was drama for me, which is
Yeah.
the funny part is in my cut Zoom call with my crew, I was like, guys, I'm generally pretty not dramatic. So everything's going to be pretty good. This is all you have to do, like blah, blah, blah. And that was the beginning of the end. So I didn't knock on wood. I didn't do anything. So I'm pretty sure that's what happened.
Wow. So so did you guys, the other guys, did you run into a low points like that? I mean, and what did that feel like? Maybe Lee, start with you, maybe.
Okay. I mean, just kind of, like I said before, the nighttime, my stomach was really bad. I think when I was at Edgewood, I tried to take a bite of like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and I just like almost gagged on it instantly. It was really sad. I was making the most horrible noises. So I kind of knew what I had to do and use the nighttime to just kind of like hike, recharge, try to hydrate, try to get some salt in me, some calories in me. And like I don't really have ever felt like I was in the pain cave before, but I was definitely in like the focus tunnel where you just kind of like you have like one goal, and then so you just got to come out the other side. And when I saw Jamie was ahead of me the whole night section, all over Edgewood. You were ahead of me, like in Giuffrida. I didn't catch up to Jamie and Michael, or no, when you swap pacers, Alex. I didn't catch up to you the next day because that's like how slow I was going.
The next day.
Yeah, power hiking.
But when you did catch up to me, you looked like you hadn't been running at all previously. You were just like trotting along and then just like took off. I'm like,
I felt bad. I didn't
well,
say goodbye.
he
I was
feels
just like,
better.
I'll see you at the next aid station.
Wow.
I had just put a new pair of shoes on though, so I was like, I had some pep in my step after all that hiking that night, and though my legs were feeling great, they didn't feel like they had been running for 24 hours.
Gotcha. So, hey, Jamie, so when you were in that dark spot, so did you come through the other side, or did the race just kind of run out? Like, did you feel like it just got that low spot and then it didn't get, because they say it doesn't always get worse, right? Or did it, or did
I
it
wouldn't
bounce
say
back?
I came out of it so much. So when I finished it, it was still like, oh, this is pretty bad. But honestly, once I finished it and before the salt water started like really eating at my feet and making it even worse, turns out don't do that. Once I finished it, there was this like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just did that, even though there was all the pain.
Yeah.
And I wasn't as angry at you as I thought I would be. So you got that going for you.
I have to say, when you ran up, it was one of the times that it was like, my first good cry of the weekend, of the weekend was seeing
It
you
wasn't my
finish.
first, but
Yes, no, I get it. If I had been running, that would have been like, I was basically crying by Heublein Tower, or sooner, the times that I did it. So, but that, congratulations to you for, for a great race and for, for putting it out there, and then, having that, being able to push through that, because that's gotta, do you feel like there's a, like a level of experience that might be gained? I know it's still very close to it, but do you feel like, it's when everything goes great, it's, that's one thing, but like, it's all relative. Do you feel like maybe you gain some, some extra toughness that you from this? Or what do
yeah,
you think?
honestly, I think honestly, it's kind of like a rite of passage within ultra running. I think I've had it too easy. It's like, yeah, I've done 100, I've done other long distances, but I haven't really had a race that went this far south, which I know is kind of just, it happens.
Yeah.
So I feel, good in that, and definitely feel very accomplished that I kept pushing through it.
Yeah.
So I think there's definitely something to be said for that.
Yeah. You're a person who strikes me as like, generally very, like you're solid, like mentally you're like very focused and, about that. Did you, and like, as opposed, especially to my, to comparing
Like,
you
thank
to,
you for
to
thinking of me
me
that way.
Let me ask you this though. Did you feel like you lost your shit out there at all, or no?
Lost my shit how?
Like mentally, like did it start to like you didn't ever question your sanity out there, did you, or no?
No, I
Okay.
definitely felt that I was, well, I probably wasn't sane for doing it, but I felt, pretty much together just in that pain
Okay.
cave, just
I gotcha. Okay.
just
Good
sucks,
for you.
but I'm continuing on.
Gotcha. Okay.
But honestly, I think that was probably due a lot in part to Simon, who was going through this whole thing. He spent the entire 31 hours and, made me laugh at every single stop. And then I had my 3 pacers. So
Yes.
Michael Loprezi Loop, Alex, and then Julia. And you can't get better than the 4 of those guys.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think they really pulled me through it. And I don't think I don't know that I would have done it without them. So.
Yeah. Simon was there on my first cut as well. So he ran me in for the last, I don't know, long distance. I don't even know how far it was, but it was a long way. I'll tell you that. So
Yeah, they're just, Simon doesn't even have to do anything to be an inspiring person. Like, he's just such a cool cat. Like, I love being around him, and I just think that was great to have him as part of your team. And he just has that effect on people. He just kind of like lifts you up. And then to have like Happy, Michael, and President, like, it sounds like you just had like a great group, and that is such a help too, because it kind of gives you that security that you're like, okay, well, if things go south, like, I'm in good hands,
Yep, exactly.
So congratulations to all 3 of you. Any
Jacque, who did you have for pacers or crew? Or
so I had Stephanie, Tyler, and Kevin help me as a crew. So Stephanie started in the morning, Tyler took over during the day until I think like 1 a.m. and then Kevin did like the graveyard shift from like 1 a.m. till I finished at like 10. So poor Kevin didn't sleep much. And as pacers, I had Matt Pacheco to start with, then I had Dan Bates, and then James Birding to finish. So I had,
and Jim Walmsley couldn't make it, huh?
no.
Holy fuck, man. No wonder you broke the record, right?
Yeah, I think, honestly, I think,
He was
like,
injured. That's right.
Yeah, he couldn't make it from France, so he's.
You're on an exchange program with him, I think, right? I think we got the better deal. So
no, but I for sure right, like just the fact that I managed to keep running well, especially during the night and like in the morning, it's definitely just because I had them running with me. So I think because definitely like when Lee said like, oh, my legs were feeling fine, my legs were not feeling fine. My legs were by Rattlesnake. I hit a rock, and that's where I took my first face plant of the day. And when I hit the rock, my legs started cramping. So I was like, well, that is problematic. It got a little bit better when it started raining, but legs were definitely tired. And I think like at around 1 or 2 a.m., that's where things got really rough. And I also knew, and I had the feeling that I was not moving at all, or at least I was not moving fast enough to, at least for my taste at the time. And especially when we hit the park and ride, I saw Alex there saying like, oh, Jamie and Lee are doing so well. We're moving so far ahead. And it was like, oh, darn. It was like, they did the smart thing. They started slow. Now they're gonna catch me. And, you know, I will not be able to keep up with them. And when I see Simon like pull in the parking lot, I'm like, oh my God, they're just behind. I was like, it's over. So
the fact that you ever thought that about me makes me so honored and makes me question your sanity.
I was happy that they were doing well, but at the same time, I was like, damn man, like you ran, like you put yourself out there for nothing. Like you were just an idiot for starting fast. That did not pay out. And I think that's the point where I told Dan Bates, I was like, all right, you know what, just lead the way and force me to run. As like, I will always try to walk, as like, force me to run. And that, like, I think the poor Dan and James, I think, had like really the worst part. I think luckily Matt I was still in a good spirits, but like after that, it was just like over Higby and Camel's Hump was bad. I had to stop and stretch because my legs just didn't want to move anymore. And I think things got better by the time we reached Stagecoach Road. And then I saw Kevin and Anna, and I think just seeing familiar faces and like knowing that I was like close to Bluff Head and only runnable sections, like really, really helped. And I think at that point, I also knew that I was close to the splits that I wanted to meet. And I think that's when my watch started telling me, it's like, oh, well, you can actually finish at like 10 a.m. I was like, okay, well, if that's possible, let's try to get it.
Yes.
But like definitely the only reason I managed to run at the end is because James was still there, and for a good chunk of the time I was just following him.
Very good. Well, it was quite the run, and congratulations to you all. It's 3 wonderful stories and 3 well executed runs. Getting through it. Any one of your times at different years would have won the race. So they're all very impressive. So I think unfortunately we got to kind of wrap up now. But do you have any other like I like to say, any closing arguments at this point? So no.
You're
Okay.
speechless.
Well, yeah. Thank you guys so much for coming on tonight and sharing all that. And let me just ask this one last thing. So I know it's still early, but anything in the future that people should look out for you guys? Jacque, what do you got? You have something else coming up? Are you still deciding?
No, I'm still undecided. I think I'm gonna go and hang out probably at the 50K National Championship in New Hampshire.
Nice.
I'm eyeing the Macedonia Trail race, and I think I want to try to qualify for Boston. So that's like that's a sub 3 marathon, but I'm not sure I'm fully committed to that yet.
I think you can do that. So
yeah.
And I think you should actually. I think Boston is a wonderful thing, and I think that's a great experience. So I can't say nothing about that. So let's say, Jamie, what do you have anything planned?
Yeah, so also sort of thinking about that New Hampshire, the 50K. race. I also in October have 100K actually in south of France.
Oh,
Someone gave me the idea. So I'm really looking forward to that because I'm gonna spend probably a week beforehand, just like touring around, and then do this 100K that looks super amazing with castles and things like that.
and what one is that?
Well, I'm gonna pronounce it wrong, but the Templier.
Oh yeah, you nailed it,
I'm a
I
you
think,
got a
right?
thumbs up
I
from
got it
Jessica.
okay enough.
Did you just say you're not going to pronounce it right, and you said that on Culture, right?
Yeah, fair.
Okay.
Fair. This is a safe place.
Okay, all right, very good. And
Wow.
Lee, what do you got? Anything or?
I'm kind of thinking of Manitou's Revenge. I got to figure out how to get into that, and
You can take
Ooh.
my spot, buddy.
that's on my radar.
Very good. Very
I'll
good.
come and hang out probably.
Yeah, I'm going to actually go there. I think if I can, I'm probably going to go there and volunteer and just kind of get some dank beta from the course there.
Is the cut a qualifier?
I would say it absolutely is. Yeah. See, in all seriousness, that would be. a
Wait, aren't
qualifier.
you registered though for Manitou's?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did you register for that?
I ended up
this year?
dropping. I ended up
Oh,
dropping.
okay.
So
Okay,
don't tell
sorry.
Kat. Don't tell Kat. So okay, guys. Well, hey, thank you so much for joining us tonight. And
Yeah,
you know, look forward to-
congratulations. This is
yeah,
great
and
races.
congratulations. So
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
all
thank you.
right. Well, have a good night.
Night.
I forget that people can't see me as I'm waving. Well, they can see me,
They can.
but
but people
on
from
the
home.
on the thing can't see me.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying.
that's
I
right.
don't know what I'm saying. So, all right.
Let's
Dun,
see.
dun,
Drum
dun,
roll,
who do we
please.
have? Oh, I know who it is. Let's see. Is it here?
Hello. Hey, Matt, you there? Oh, there he is.
There he is. I don't know if he sees us. He's connecting. He's connecting. There he is. Yay.
How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good. Hey,
Yeah.
Matt, I hardly
Pretty well.
recognize you with your clothes on.
Yeah, it's a little different.
So, is your last name Geary? Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Oh,
All
there's
right. I wasn't sure whether.
It's not gears. No S.
No, on some social media platforms, I have it as Gears.
Okay.
Facebook particularly. That was back when, I don't know, I was of the mindset of like, maybe don't make your name the same as
Got
your
it.
actual name so people can't find you or something. I don't know. And then I just never changed it. And I don't really care about that anymore.
It-
But yeah,
it
so
It
it's
keeps you mysterious.
it's Geary. I should probably change it back because I have a lot of people ask, is it Gears? And I'm like, no. It's
But it
Geary.
kind of works too, right? I mean, it's a
You
good
say
running.
the S
Like,
is silent.
it could be your professional running. Your professional
Yeah.
running name.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a lot of friends call me it. It's actually like my Instagram is like running.gears. So I mean, I've adapted it. One of my my Gmail has gears in it. So yeah.
That's great. That's great. So, there's one question that I have in my starting question. I just got to ask is what the fucking fuck? That's
Yeah.
my question for you. So I don't know where to start, man. I gotta tell you. So you and I had a conversation at the finish line at Mutt's End there.
Yep.
And I said, so, it's getting pretty cold. Like, yeah, you like need you need a shirt or something. Like, you're like, yeah, I didn't pack a shirt, I didn't.
Totally. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. So what's with the, so like you left, you got in your car, you like woke up in the morning, you threw on your shorts, and then you like walked out
Just
the
left.
door with no shirt. And it's like, yep, I'm going to the race.
Yeah, I mean, to some degree, yeah. I mean, I woke up at 4:30, 3.5 hours before the race started, and then did all my meal prep. Like I have a specific meal that I like to have in the morning before a race day, and then I'm making sure all my stuff's oriented. And I sort of knew it was going to be 93, so I got so focused on everything that I need for the race, I forgot like warm clothing or clean clothing or I guess any
Upper
other
body
clothing
clothing.
besides shorts.
Good thing you brought your shorts though. I mean, and your
Yeah,
shorts
no,
weren't
it was
much.
good.
Your,
Yeah,
your
they weren't.
shorts
They're
weren't
very,
much. I'm just saying,
yeah, they're
Oh my
very, very
God.
short shorts, and that's definitely a decision that I regret. I wish I wore compression shorts because of all the chafing that happened to me on that day.
So when did the chafing start?
Oh gosh, it was. So I just want to say that I've never experienced chafing before in all my running. And I think it started around mile 10 or maybe earlier.
Oh.
There you go.
Maybe somewhere between 5 and 10. I realized
that's
it wasn't like actually chafing then, but it was my thighs were hitting together and I could feel this is gonna be a problem. Like you can just tell when they're like sticking and they're like, oh, okay. And then I'm like, I don't know. I sort of knew that was gonna happen. And then that point in my mind, I actually started to trace back about the petroleum jelly, which was the one thing that I forgot at the house, which was a super bummer because I didn't have any like
Along with your shirts.
yeah
I'm teasing, I'm
exactly.
just teasing.
Wow. So
No, I did forget that. So I guess there's more than one thing that I forgot at the house.
So you didn't have, so it wasn't just that as you were running with the weather that you just chafed. So you didn't even have anything to put on beforehand, like for chafing, like,
Correct.
you know what I mean? Wow.
I never, so chafing wasn't even in my mind because I've never experienced chafing. And I mean, I'm fairly new to running, I guess.
How long have you been running then?
3 days.
I've been trail running this is my second year trail running.
Wow.
And I started playing soccer when I was a young kid, but I stopped playing soccer when I was 13 and decided to use drugs instead. And but then after that, I mean, running was like something I did during CrossFit, but it was sort of like one of those, I was like, if the workout had running in it, I was like, darn it, like I didn't really enjoy running. And I started to run last year quite a bit more, and then earlier this year is when I really just like fell in love with running quite a bit. So
gotcha. Now so have you done a marathon or no?
I've never done like actual marathon, like an event.
Yeah.
I've run a couple independently, just like on the bike path.
Sure.
Yeah. But
okay.
That's something that I've actually been thinking about lately. My brother's he just sort of got into running, but he's been talking about marathons, and I don't know. I've been switching up some. I really love trail running. I really do.
Yeah, and I'm not pushing you to run. I'm not pushing you to run a marathon either. I'm just just to kind of put it in perspective here.
But really, I've been thinking about it, and I've been practicing threshold running, and I want to qualify for Boston. Like that's a goal of mine. So yeah, I will be running a marathon. It's just, I'm not sure.
You'll have a great base. I mean, to go into, getting some, road running in for road marathons with the base of what you have. I think it's really going to significantly help you. So it'll be like, this is so easy.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, maybe. I run the Holyoke St. Patrick's Day 10K every year. Mm-hmm. And I don't like short distance running. Like that run's
Um,
so great. There's like 4,000 runners there, and like everyone's just lined. Like it's just a big party. Everyone's drinking, which whatever. But everyone's cheering you on, and but it's just red line. Like I know what it means to run 6 miles and like try to do my best. And that means like I'm just gonna sort of be redlining the whole time. And it's just a different type of pain.
It
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hands
no,
down.
it
How do
is.
you do in that? Like how do you place in that, would you say? An idea?
I placed in the top 100, but yeah, I picked up a different strategy this year. I tried to do like a progression run, or what do they call it? A negative split, I think.
Yeah, sure. Where you run the
Right.
end faster than the beginning.
Yeah, see, that's my newborn running. I'm still figuring out the terminology. But
No, that's great.
So yeah, so I took the first couple miles pretty, easy, and then I picked it up and progressed into like 6-minute miles and stuff. And
Very
yeah,
good.
I PR'd my mile during that event, so it was good, but it was painful. There's a lot of hills. And,
Those runs are they are painful. It's like I always can, these shorter races are like being in the microwave. And the longer races are like being in a crock pot, where it just like, 100K or 100 miler just kind of bakes the meat right off the bones,
Okay.
And by the time you're done, you kind
Says
of
the vegetarian.
says the
Says the
vegetarian,
vegan.
right? The lazy vegan.
So,
So
Matt, I'm just looking at your
I
ultrasonic.
like that analogy.
Yeah. And you did Squatch Apple 50, right? That is you.
Yep,
15,
earlier
okay.
this year.
So, well, I mean, obviously the course is, 12 miles longer, and it's, the terrain is harder, but how was that, getting into that, that new territory, going from that, mile 51 to 62? How was that? It sounds like you had a couple other things going on with the chafing and.
So I had an expectation in my head about how the 100K, the Mutt 100K was going to go, based off of the Squatch Apple 50. I didn't really know how much elevation was in the 100K, and it turns out there was about 3,000 more feet of elevation. But I finished the Squatch Apple in like 7 hours and like, I don't know, 54 minutes or something like that. And
7 hours, 56 minutes and 55 seconds. And he was
Okay.
28 minutes ahead of the second place person, 29. So that
Yeah.
person was right on his heels, Just 29 minutes behind him.
Yeah,
But that's awesome. That's a great
so
race.
I was like, okay, if I can do that in sub 8, like, what's 12 more miles? And like, I was like, okay, like I can do this in like 10 hours, right? And then like, so I like to shoot pretty high, and then like be like, okay, that's a pretty ambitious goal, and let's go after that. And then if I have to like backtrack into like plan B, then if it's not 10, then maybe I'll go sub 12. And like I was like that, so that was where I was at. So so coming in to the Mutt, that was sort of like the differences I had between the two, my expectations, I guess. I don't know, the differences between the two experiences, and it just didn't
Gotcha.
It wasn't
what
it wasn't
was
what
your
I expected.
what was your plan for headlamps and stuff like that, like lighting strategies? Let's talk about that. So
Okay, yeah, so I didn't bring any headlamp or any light.
Yes.
Because like I said, I thought I was going to be done in 10 or 12 hours. Like I was like 14 was like out of this. Like I didn't even think that was I didn't even think it was on the board. So I was like, okay, 8 a.m. to 8, there's 12, and that's it. Like I don't even need a light. I'm good. And worst comes to worst, I got my phone which I did end up breaking out, and used like this little dim light, which it was wrapped in a plastic bag because it was downpouring rain at the end. But I guess maybe we'll get there eventually. So yeah, that was my headlamp strategy. It was poorly devised, and yeah, I learned a lot of things that day.
But it's a great fucking story, Matt.
That
is, you know, that is great. That was almost the highlight of my weekend, like hearing you come in and say, yeah, you know, I didn't bring a headlamp, I didn't bring a shirt, and I
have a really nice headlamp too. Like I have a handful of headlamps, and I just didn't even, you know, I don't know.
So are you someone that just adapts really well? Like, because I mean, I think that the things that you're mentioning, I think for some people it could be like a game changer. Would be like, oh my God, I don't, just the idea of what am I going to do? I don't have a headlamp, could take them out, or, you know, my skin's rubbing off. I can, you know, are you someone that's able to kind of to go with things and just readapt and refigure in general, or?
I guess yes. Yes and no, but
I mean, you were at the Mutt.
Yeah, I definitely credit my pacer Zach for a lot of what, you know, me finishing the race, and because I wanted to quit. I knew I was in trouble in that race early on. Like I finished, and I haven't submitted my time to fastest known time, but I think I got like the second. I think there's only one other out there for the half on the Mutt. But I knew I was in trouble early on. For the first 20 miles, I think a large majority of the time my heart rate was between 160 and 170, and that's really irregular for me. And I decided that I was just going to forget about it, and like that eventually it would drop back down and everything would be okay. And
we were just like in a zone, or because I know we were talking to Jacque before, and you guys had been running together for a while. Did you like just kind of get into like a nice groove with him, and just you're like, you know, I'm just gonna ride this wave?
Yeah, that's I didn't like that Jacque was running the 100-mile, and that he was also like, if not with me, doing better than me, and looking like he was strong. I was like, because that just solidified for me that I'm like, okay, I'm not performing the way I want to be. Like I know
did
how
that
I
fuck
can
with your head
perform.
some, or
yeah, it did a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's not like I'd love to see people doing good and like doing but like I just knew that I was having a bad performance. Even though even though my pacer was like, dude, you're doing great. Like, what are you talking about? Like, dude, you gotta like step back a little bit. And it was really, you know, so I needed that a lot, but you know, for me, it's like, I don't know. I had a couple weeks before the race where I had given myself the license to taper, and that also meant the license to eat ice cream and eat pizza and do all these things that I don't normally do. And I was just laying on the couch for a lot of time. And
so I'm gonna call time out here. Like, okay, so let the record reflect that like Matt's rocking some fucking hardcore abs, and like, you know, like if that, like, you know, like, so I think you didn't eat that
a little
much
ice cream.
I'm
was
just
okay.
a little bit ice cream.
Well, they have those like half-gallon things, right? And I was like totally on a chocolate ice cream kick, and I was going. They have like a nice ice cream shack where I'm at, and so I was going there a bunch, and I was eating like half gallons full of ice cream. And anyways,
I do a lot of the same. I do a lot of the same things and some of the same behaviors. So I've been in recovery for 40 years, a little bit more than that. So I heard you mention that yourself as well. So how does that play into your running it? I mean, assuming that's true, if you want to talk about it. If you don't, that's fine too.
Yeah, I definitely, yes, I'm open to talk about that. Running and recovery, they sort of go hand in hand for me.
Mhm.
Like getting sober was something I never thought was possible,
Yeah,
right? Like
right
I
on.
never, for all my life, like I always, early on, I started smoking, drinking around, or smoking around 12 and drinking around, I don't know, 15 or 16, and same thing as Percocets. And it all just escalated from there into cocaine and all these other things. And so throughout most of my 20s, like I never thought I was ever going to go without a substance or, without alcohol. And so once I realized that that was possible, and that's sort of something that I relate to running. It's like, at first I didn't think, like I saw people running like these races running 30 miles on a mountain and stuff. And I'm like, that it's just so far outside of what my scope was.
Yeah.
And so then to press into that and be like, oh, okay, like let's try this out. And then actually to like excel at that. And then
Mm.
it would expand my perception of like, oh, okay, like I can do that. And
Yes.
well, and I'm actually good at it. So that's
Mhm.
great too. But yeah, so that's always, and like I would learn a lot of things in running. And like my first 50 miler, like I didn't fuel right at all. And it was
Mm.
like, it was so miserable. And like I took a lot of times to just hang out. And like I was just like, just because I didn't know how to fuel properly. And like I just didn't know like how much water to be carrying and how much liquid to be carrying. Like got to the point where I was like peeing like sort of brownish, and like it was just not a good scene. And
Yeah.
well, like you learn so much in those experiences. And yeah, I sort of stumbled off the recovery question a little bit, but
No, that's Matt, I think that unfortunately, we're kind of we're limited tonight in time. But
okay.
I'd love to have you back on the show to talk about talk
Yeah.
about that some more if you'd like, and to talk about just where you are, because it's really your story is very compelling as far as an enthusiastic new runner, and you have a very fresh look on it. You're viewing it, some of these, like you've never chafed before, right? I mean, like it's very there's a lot of
There's a
stuff
fearlessness to it that I think is really
Yeah.
interesting. And not just the fearlessness, but also like it sounds like that, almost like that self trust of I don't know what's gonna happen, but whatever it is, we'll get through it. It's all right. Like that,
Yeah.
that just kind of like willingness to just be like, hey, like you said, like I did this other thing that I thought I was never gonna do. I never thought I would be, sober. And so, what, if my skin falls off from shaving, it falls off from shaving. Which I think is really cool. And I just listening to you could definitely hear different parallels. So that's really cool.
Thanks. Yeah, I definitely have a high pain tolerance, maybe not emotional, but definitely physical, and probably emotional too. But I think taking ice baths really has helped me with that. And when you were asking about being adaptable, and I just over January I did open water cold plunges for 30 days, and then it was I don't know, a couple months after that in like March I bought a tub, and I did another 30-day ice bath challenge. And man, when you get in there, it's really, you really don't want to get in there. There's never a time that your mind is like, oh yeah, I'm so stoked to go get in the cold water.
Yeah.
It's like don't do that, dude. 100% don't get in there. And a lot of times I have to like set a time. I'm like, okay, in 30 seconds I'm getting in. And then but I don't know, that sort of like fortifies my mental ability to sit in uncomfortableness.
Yeah,
And
awesome. That is cool. Now I gotta, there's one other thing I gotta mention. And I have somebody who's been in the waiting room for a bit, so we gotta get to the next person coming on. But the day after, like this race, like most people are like,
In bed.
you know, sitting, sleeping, watching TV or doing something like that.
Yeah.
But we're fucking on to you, buddy. You didn't just do that. You went out and you ran Chesterfield Gorge 100-miler, right?
Correct.
And you ran it in a sub 18 time, I think, is what I saw. Is that right? Or is that like
That's correct. Yeah. I don't know what it was, 17 something. I'd have to
Yeah.
look at my Strava time was like 15 something because
yeah.
that was like
It's
Strava takes
Strava.
like your moving time.
Yeah.
And my last two aid station visits were just the last 20 miles of that 100-mile race were very challenging. And you know, after the mutt, I thought like up to the mutt, I was like that, like the mutt was like the hardest thing that I ever did. And for sure, like I was like at the end of that day and still like that was so hard, just mentally, really, and physically. But yeah, I did the 100.
Wow, good for you.
You
That's
know,
crazy.
I came out with like a 10-minute pace, and you know, then this one guy just like gassed past me at like mile 2, and I was like, all right, dude, like, and so then I just hung with him for a minute, and then eventually like he couldn't hang, and my heart rate was so good that day. My heart rate stayed in like the 130s for like forever. It seemed like forever. Like I was running
Awesome.
eight, you know, sub 9-minute miles, and my heart rate was just in the 130s. And you know, I just had to so I did that, and you know, I technically came in second because I started the race late, but I also set a course record and beat the other guy by like
Wait a
2.5
minute, you
hours.
started the
But-
course late?
Yeah, so I talked to the race director, and she told, because she knew that I was doing the 100K the day before, and she
Oh,
told
okay.
me, oh yeah, you can show up late if you want. So
Oh, okay.
because so my
That's
alarm,
awesome.
so I didn't get home, I didn't go to sleep until like 2 because I got home and I wanted to eat some food, and then I got up and my alarm went off. It must have been like 2 hours later or something, right? Like went off at like 4 a.m. And I was just like, there's just absolutely not am I going to run 100 miles right now, especially when Amy already told me you can come late. Like I already had that little bit in my mind to
Yeah.
just be like, all right, I'm just gonna go to sleep and see when I wake up and then go from there. And yeah, it went really good.
Wow.
Gotcha.
And yeah, like
Well,
you said in the beginning, a lot of people were like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah.
Yes.
like when I posted it on Strava, I had people comment, what the fuck? Like
That's right. Well, Matt, listen, I'm gonna, if it's all right, I'd like to keep you on just for a little bit more, and then I'm gonna bring, also, I have Andy here because he wanted to fanboy, because Andy and I were just like, for about hours after
Oh
you
my
left,
gosh, I love
we were
the
just,
Andy comments.
we were just talking about, you know, about what you did there, and you know, and everything there. So I have him, and I also have Fred Wills is going to join us as well. And then maybe once I get into talking to Fred, we'll let you go. And you know, I definitely want to have you back on again, though. You know, sometime to talk about these other things if you would do that. So, but I wanted to give you a chance to say hi to Andy here. So hey, Andy O.
What's up, Andy?
What's going on, guys? Matt, congratulations.
Thanks, man.
Amazing work. Amazing work.
Thank you.
Cheers.
It was a lot of pain. Cheers. Cheers.
Yeah.
But
lots of pain.
No shirt, no headlamp, no problem, right?
No shirt, no headlamp, only pain.
That's
did
right.
you did you get to use my joke about how whenever
I
Matt
didn't.
ran?
Please tell us that, though.
Sure. Or Matt's. Yeah, my joke was like, that guy, wherever he ran by, every lady got pregnant. I just feel like the shirtless Adonis. Yeah, you could have gone by a school bus of nuns, and they all would have been immaculately concepted. I was like,
hey, it's the missing biblical story.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Art told me about that today, and I was like, oh my God. I'm like, I just was picturing you saying that to Andy, and I was just losing it. I'm like, that is so funny.
Becky, is there anything you
thank
can't
you.
imagine me saying, right?
No, I know. Your delivery is just so perfect too.
Thanks,
It's just,
thanks.
oh my gosh.
Wow.
Yeah, that's so funny.
So Matt, what do you have? You have anything coming up next or planned yet, or are you going to figure it out?
I've just started to get back on Ultra Sign Up and start to scour the web a little bit. Because I was wondering how long it was going to take me to recover, and I ran 12 and a half miles today. I feel pretty good. And
In the smoke.
yeah, in the smoke. Yeah, totally. In the smoke, which is just wild. But yeah, no, I don't have the next thing I have on the board is the Mid-State Massive, which is in like October. Aside from I have 2 backpacking trips, one in Baxter and one in the Pemi Wilderness, or the Pemi Loop and the Presidential Traverse. I'm doing at once. And those are sort of
sure.
Well, hold on. Okay, hold on. You're gonna do the Pemi and the Prezi at once?
Yeah, I think they call it the Prezi Traverse or something. No, the
I
Pemi
didn't know that was a thing.
I don't know. They have a name for it. I forget.
Yeah,
what it is.
that's
Well, Matt, I'm really excited to be humbled by you at Mid-State. I'll be there as well. So I'll be following your trail of slime as you just leave. the empty packaging of Plan B along the way. That's great.
Yeah, it's I don't hear good that great of race experience things there, so I'm a little nervous about it. But
dude, the reason I signed up for it, I want to run across Massachusetts in a day. I'm stoked for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll do great.
Yeah, I hear the
You
course
both
is
will.
amazing. So I'm excited about it, and I'm glad I got 100 miles in before it. I like to get right up to the line before I run a certain distance. So that was nice.
excellent. Well, Matt, thanks so much for joining us. Congratulations on a great run. And look forward to catching up to you again sometime. So,
All right. Thanks for having me on.
okay. All right. Thanks, Matt.
Yeah.
Okay. Have a good night.
You too.
Okay. So joining us next, we have Fred Wills. Welcome, Fred.
Hey, everybody. How you doing tonight?
Hi.
Good, good. How you
Nice to
doing?
see everybody. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Recovering well from the kids run that we just the 50 milers did. Tough guy to follow on this podcast, I have to say.
Yeah, absolutely. So do you know Matt at all or no?
No, I just I saw your recap of the race, and then I saw that you said he ran 100 miler the next day, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, I felt so small, and then I saw his time in the 100 miler, and I'm like, I can't even move right now. So a lot of respect out to him. That's amazing.
Gotcha.
Definitely inspiring.
His pace on that hundo the next day. No one should be able to do that on a normal day, let alone after running.
Exactly. Yeah.
I've heard stories of people that like do these ultras and like the stage races, and like they go to bed and they feel like they can't move, and then the next day somehow magically they feel great. I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah. I always have a lot more drama. Usually I start running feeling like I can go everywhere, and no, it's so let's talk about your run, Fred. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, how did you get into running and stuff?
Yeah, so I'm 38 years old. I've been running since high school. Ran cross country, Stratford, Connecticut for Stratford High. Went to college, tried to play baseball for the first 2 years, couldn't hack it. So I joined their cross country team at Southern New Hampshire University. And just been kind of then got into the marathons and road races, and got married in my early 30s, had 3 kids. So I have 3 kids under 5. So just starting to get into the trail running now, which is, a little hectic, but the great thing about trail running is you don't necessarily have to spend more time on it versus like training for a marathon. It's just like getting in the vert and just being on your feet, you could still get in this, similar training. So always enjoyed running. It's kind of like my meditation per se. It gets me, because I work in tech sales and I'm behind a desk all day long. So it's nice to just get away, and I have the flexibility to do it working from home, to get out at any time I want, which is nice.
Awesome. So what was the first marathon you ran?
Hartford. I did Hartford and then Boston back in 2008. So
okay.
Yeah, I had the plan of like running all 50 states, and I think I got through 8, started getting injuries, and then I actually haven't done a road marathon since 2016 or 17.
Okay.
So it's been a while, and I've always wanted to do the trail running stuff, and ultimate goal of doing 100 since I read Dean Karnasi's ultra marathon man. I think that's how everybody gets into it. But
that or Born to Run. Right?
Yeah, exactly. So I just always thought it was something I was going to do in my 40s or 50s. And then, I don't know, it just kind of hit me the last 2 years that like, I'd rather do it now when I'm maybe still kind of fast. And
yeah, no, you got some speed, no doubt. So
yeah, so I was kind of fighting injuries the past 2 years, had surgery on my toe, which kind of set me back a little bit, but past year has been trying to just like get my speed back and get the mileage up. So it's been really fun running the trails around me. I live in Cheshire, so I got some good trails with Sleeping Giant and Mount Sanford. So it was actually my first time on those trails on Saturday. So I'm definitely have to get back up there again.
Yeah. So you're repping the Shire, huh?
Yeah.
As we call it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Too bad Fred's here. You know what? Too bad Fred Morolo's not here. So
yeah, another Fred. I like it. I met him briefly that morning. I was a little out of it, but yeah, I saw that he's got his own book and everything. So I'm gonna have to check that out.
He does. Did you notice that he's from the Shire as well?
I did not know that. Yeah. I know he was at Jimmy's race on Thanksgiving Sunday at Brooksville Park. Because Jimmy kept mentioning Fred, and I had a couple friends there, and I was like, no, he's not talking about me. Fred's not a very common name, so I was looking for some old guy because I don't know any Freds my age.
Yeah.
So it was, I'll have to talk to him another time or run into him. I guess he runs a lot, right?
He runs here and there.
Yeah,
he ran
a little bit.
Fred had a 39-year running streak.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Isn't that hard to fathom?
That's impressive.
Yeah. So he's, there's not
many. That darn COVID that put a little dent in it. That's all.
Oh, that's right. Too bad.
So he kind of, right now we consider he has like, a 42-year run streak with an asterisk. So basically.
Does he keep track of, obviously this new generation, everyone's on Strava and keeping like the data and does he know how many miles he ran over that period of time? I imagine it's got to be
25. There's some list. Wasn't he like 40 something in the country of or the world?
I thought he was 32 in the world or something like that. But
yeah,
I could be.
But yeah, so
he'll deny it, but he's an attorney too, so he doesn't want to, he doesn't want to commit to any shit like that, So
that's
cool. This was so Fred, this was your first time on the blue. No, because you did blue to blue.
I did blue to blue. Yeah, I did blue to blue. And then I run a lot of those trails around here through I did the Q trail on my birthday last October. And I try to get out there like once or twice a week. I was actually surprised Jimmy didn't reach out to me because his event for blue to blue is like, if you haven't run a 50K, don't sign up or whatever. But I guess he had looked into my running and saw that I had been on the trails quite a bit, so it was nice to do that race.
Very good. Yeah, that's not an easy course either.
No, probably not the best pick for my first 50K. I ran
the best pick for your first 50K because it's like you can do that, you can handle anything.
Yeah, really.
That's what Tom was telling me at the finish line. He's like, it's all easy from here. So I hope that's the true. I do prefer like runnable trails, but that's just not how Connecticut is. So it's nice. I'm getting better at the technical stuff.
Yeah, I think.
So how was the, going from that, 50K to the, going into the unknown? How were those miles for you?
The last like 18
Yeah.
of this race.
Yeah.
Not too bad. To be honest, I kind of took it pretty conservative like early in the race. And I was kind of like, and then just running with Austin and Ian, and they're great runners. I ran with Ian a little bit in Blue to Blue. He just had a really bad day, not his day in that race. He had a great day on Saturday, but
yes.
And we were just talking, we were all trying to save it for Bluff Head and just have some legs for the last like 16 miles that don't really have much vert. So I felt like I probably left something on the table, to be honest, because I was running sub 8s the last like 4 miles on the road. So I was like, maybe I could have pushed it a little bit more. Maybe my crew could have motivated me more, but
well, you fuckers all came in so fast. And I'm lucky
I slowed down for you. I slowed down for you, Art. I was ready to sprint. I was ready to sprint, and I actually regret not jumping into the water. But I kind of stopped, and you were like, "You got to touch the water." And once I stopped and starting to go, like I couldn't do it.
Gotcha. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it was. I think like the first group that came through, man, they just destroyed me. They were all like, because I run everybody the last, I don't know, whatever it is, maybe quarter mile in or something across the field and over the boardwalk, and just it was something. So did you have any low moments during your run, or how did it go?
I think like the only low moment I had was really like the last couple hours, like nutrition wise. I couldn't drink as much as I was drinking earlier. I was starting to get a little nauseous, so I had to figure that out. I do some runs where I like fast, so I don't eat a lot when I train. So I got to kind of figure that out. I pretty much stuck to like goo Roctane powders and spring awesome sauce is like my go-to. So
Fred, I'm sorry to interrupt. When
Yeah,
you said you fast during runs, do you do that intentionally to like for any specific reason, or is it just out of not wanting to carry stuff?
Couple reasons. First, I got into fasting because like I gained a bunch of weight. I was like 220 pounds, and that was like the easiest way to take some weight off. And then second, to just like try to teach my body to get used to pulling energy from fat stores.
Bro, thank you for saying that. I intentionally was training for a while like that, and so I literally thought I was insane because I've told other people about that, and they're like, "No, that's stupid. You're no, that's not science." And I'm like, "No, it is, because mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell, and they can do whatever they want." And anyway, no, that's kind of reaffirming.
It is weird though. I'd say there's controversy on that though. I mean, so if you listen to David Roach, coach, he would say that. Yeah, he would say that that's the absolute thing that you shouldn't do.
Well, I wouldn't recommend it in a race, obviously. Like like I did the keto thing for a while too, and I mean, carbs are like jet fuel when you come off of like fasting or whatever. So I didn't do it too much in this training block. Actually, I was talking to Lee Davis in Blue to Blue when we were running together. He's like, how do you like do those like 15-mile runs like fasted? And it's just like you get used to it. You definitely don't like, you don't have as much energy to push, but I don't know. I enjoy doing it from time to time. It's like a different challenge, which is why we all do trail like ultra running anyways for a challenge. So
that's true.
I used to the science I had read, and it's been so long, but like it only kicks in when you're like at or near the 3-hour mark or more of like, kind of pushing yourself. And so I would go on these long 3 to 4 hour runs where I wouldn't bring any calories with me, just water. And I would literally say to myself, burn fat. I was saying out loud while I'd be running, burn fat, because I assume my mitochondria were listening, but our systems. Yeah, you're laughing, Becky, but like our systems are.
I'm laughing because of how you're saying it. I love it. Because
Our systems are technically wired for that, right? Like they're supposed to be able to switch at some point between the different fuels, and so it's an interesting concept. I don't know. I'm not a physicist or a bio whatever. I talk for a living, but it's interesting to think about how the human body has evolved to be able to do that. And hey, if you could pull it off, and Fred, it sounds like you did, and I think I feel like I've done it at some point.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that I'm not saying that that's right or wrong either. I didn't mean to like come across like that, like douchey or anything, but there are just different. Now, I think other people will tell you, like I think it was Fitzinger, or one of them will tell you that like what I always like doing was mixing some of those in there, because I think that sends us in my mind, that sends a signal to your body that that energy is not always going to be plentiful. So you should kind of conserve your, you need to be efficient with your energy. I think David Roach is saying that it's better to just stoke the fire and tell your body to use that fuel because you're going to have it. And then you're able to absorb more fuel when you run.
I'm not used to watching you on video, so I just love that the cat is so close.
My cat never joins the
right
podcast,
now.
but this is gonna.
I was trying to bring Pete in, but he just ran off. So
I have 2 cats. Maybe you guys can do a cat podcast sometime.
We're just gonna have the cats talk, or we'll talk for them.
The Cats Who Own Runners edition of Cultura.
That's right.
Yeah, I don't know. Have you ever heard of a guy named Michael McKnight? He does a lot of the 200-mile races and and wins them. But he did 100-mile without calories. He's like a big keto guy, but he did, so it's possible. I wouldn't recommend that, and neither would he. But it's just interesting to see how I think he studied like what his body did during that. I didn't really look into it too much. I would never do anything crazy like that, but I mostly use it as a weight loss tool, and then it has some benefits. Like in these races, at some point you're going to be pulling from fat for energy once you get low on glycogen. So I don't know, it's fun.
I've heard of Michael Knight and Kit, but that's different.
Yes, Michael. Dun, dun.
That's too old. That's too much of a reference for Fred. You're a little too young for that one.
Yeah, was it a Camaro, or what kind of car was it?
Oh
Which
God,
kit?
Rocker Ferrari would know this. Yeah, I don't remember.
But it had the light in the front that scanned back and forth.
Yeah,
a tracking LED light or something.
It was
but
a
they didn't have
television
LED
show, Fred. You're glad you don't know it. It wasn't that good.
Yeah, it kind of sucked actually.
Yeah,
Baywatch was much better.
Because Art really likes German men in short shorts
in slow motion.
Yes.
Who doesn't?
Wow. So did you know that Culturebot is actually German?
I didn't know that. No.
Yeah, I don't know. Culturebot hasn't been on the show in a while, but I have to say that I was in Kennedy Airport on my way. I just got back from Finland and Iceland, and in the international terminal in Kennedy, Culturebot has a fucking job there. Like he kind of we put him on part-time work here on our podcast. And he's like announcing flight delays and shit like that at the airport now. So
interesting.
So Fred, what did you have? You've thought about 100-miler now, or what are you thinking about that?
I'm not sure. Obviously my ultimate goal is to run Western states, which I don't know, it's getting less and less attractive as it gets, more corporate. I don't know. It's been like commercialized a bit over the past few years.
Yeah, fuck them.
Yeah. So
let's start a war. Let's be Art Byram says fuck.
I'm doing Twisted Branch in August to get a ticket to get into that one.
Who else has told us that?
What'd you say?
Jessica?
Yes.
Jessica, yeah.
Yeah, Jessica Crandall, who won. She won the the 112.
Oh, okay. That's
So,
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that Twisted Branch is good as a destination in unto itself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
I was there in 2021 with my family. Was supposed to run it then, and that's when I started having the toe issues. And we still stayed at our Airbnb. I was right across the water from the finish line, so it was very painful. Like going out in the canoe, I saw the finish line, and it was kind of sad. But it was motivational, and then they allowed me to defer my registration these past few years, so which was really nice. You don't see that these days anymore. I would have gladly registered again, but yeah, they let me defer. So hopefully this is the year that I don't, unless I make a mistake in my training over the next 8 weeks, I think I should be good.
Yeah. Well, you ran very well. You looked very strong and very fresh when you came through the finish line. So that's awesome to be able to drop sub 8s. I think the last person I remember doing that was Andy O, actually.
No,
So,
I was not.
So Andy ran the CUT112 in
2020.
was that 2020?
It was,
yeah. And it was hot as a dog's ass day.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, it was awful.
It was just a fucking miserable day. And we're running, and I ran out into the woods to see him out into the Mononkatuk a bit. And then I ran back with him. And then I had to focus not to get dropped. It was sad.
That is Art. I appreciate you lying so well for me. I'm getting fun thinking about the moment I saw you in the woods. I've already recounted this on this podcast. Freddie's fucking lying.
Sounds like he's being a little sarcastic.
I was crawling. Basically, what Art was doing was sliding on the. When you see a snail and the goo trail. Art was just sliding on the goo trail behind me. It was awful the last few
Were
miles.
those Plan B rappers?
But you finished. You finished. So
I finished.
FKT. By the way,
wait, did you take the elevator at the end? Because I did
not. No, I did not. Here's a very there's a two-part story. One, I never take the elevator when I could take the stairs. That is my absolute thing. As a runner, what the fuck are you taking the elevator for when you can take the stairs?
There's a lot of people who took the elevator. So.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, and
Where's
I know
my just a second. Where's my mute? Just a second. Oh, here we go. Oh, there it is. Okay, good. Fucking settled that shit right now. That's why I have the mute button here, people. So
and I can unmute myself and Art can suck my balls. No, I believe firmly taking the stairs, and I did, and Art was there when I took the stairs, and Art still gave me a belt buckle. So hey, yeah, I guess I finished or not, I finished. But yeah, no, it was a very slow. Anyone who was around, and there were 3 people around who could attest to me being such an asshole at the end, a very slow asshole at the end. But anyway.
But you ran it in 31, right? Or something like that, right?
No, it was 30 hours, 15 or something like that.
Okay.
Wow.
That's an awesome time. Especially if it was hot. I can't imagine. That's the one thing, heat and humidity are not my friend. So I got very lucky on Saturday.
It was a nice day to run.
Every time, because I bike a lot now, and I'll go by that area when I'm on a long cycle ride, and I just have to pull my bike over. I literally bawl when I go by the train station, the beach. I lose my shit. It is. I can't stop. And the guys I'm riding with, they'll be like, "Yo, everyone," because men are idiots, and I'm like, "Fuck off."
Yeah.
You can't ever. You could do 100 miles on a bike, and then between breakfast and lunch.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot do the cut on a bike, let alone it's
you can do 112 miles between breakfast and lunch, like breakfast Friday morning and lunch Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway,
what-
yeah.
I'm
So
sure
Fred,
it's different experience.
yeah, what did how did it go? Like, you were running with Austin, you said, for a bit?
Yeah, I was actually running with Ian quite a bit in the beginning, and we lost Austin at some point. We actually thought he was lost because we didn't see him ahead of us, like for long stretches, and then we caught up to him at the second aid station. He was at the aid station. So I don't know how because he was saying he was going to take it conservative as well. I knew I was in good company because those guys had run the trails. So I was just like, I'm just going to hang with them. My plan was to run by heart rate in the 130s early. And I was able to do that, which was great. I'm trying to think of the point where actually in Mount Higby, I started making a little move. I was 30 seconds up on those guys, and I was thinking of making like a kind of a bigger move. And then I ended up going off trail. I had they yelled off to me and I heard them luckily, so I was able to backtrack. And then somewheres in the next, I don't know, next couple of miles, Ian just kind of took off, and then Austin and I ran together probably for the next hour or so. And then by stagecoach, I had 10 minutes on Austin, and Ian was 10 minutes up, and then that kept growing somehow. I kind of thought I was still playing it conservative. I was like, let me just get the bluff and maybe I'll push if Ian starts to come back, because I ran with him at Blue to Blue, and he kind of came, and I knew his training with running. He hadn't put in a lot of miles, but he was telling me when we were running that he did this 35-hour skiing ultra thing. I never even knew they existed, but where you go up and down the mountain skiing for 35 hours, and
wow,
he got 44,000 feet of vert doing it, whatever. I don't know. I know he's a great runner, so it was just once his lead kept gaining, I had to get 30 minutes at Bluff Head. I was like, I'm not going to catch him, so I backed off again to just kind of play it conservative and try to hold for second place. But yeah, it was fun to run out there. I feel like it was a little bit of a blur, especially early, as you're just looking at your feet not to trip. The scenery is great, but you can only focus on it so much. I got some pictures and videos, which was nice, so I stopped for that stuff. Definitely gonna go back to hit up those trails some more. Maybe try to do the however you pronounce it, Manukatuk Trail.
I was just gonna let it. I'm watching this train crash, and I have a chance to save it, but fuck it, we're gonna just let it go.
How do you pronounce it? Manukatuk.
That's you nailed it.
Pretty close.
You nailed it, Fred. That's perfect.
I'd like to do I saw Lee Davis did a cool run. I don't know if he started in Guilford and went up to Bluff's Head and back, or vice versa, but I saw he did a cool run a couple months back. I like to do that or something like that. But and I'd like to come back and do the race next year, or pace somebody, or depending on what I'm planning for races. No offense, I don't think it'll be my first 100. But we'll see.
Okay, no offense taken. So
I think I told you that, but there's something to say about running across the state in trails, and it's really cool. I've talked to people that don't run through work or whatever. It gets brought up, and I'm like, it's not impressive. The people that did the 112 miles, what's impressive, especially with the heat that they had to deal with, and the time that Jacque put on. He beat Andy's time by 6 hours. Sorry, Andy.
Dude, but last year he
5
beat
hours.
He beat
Ian.
There was three. There's been 4, 5, 6 people who had my time just last year.
That's cool. That's good. If the race keeps getting some good runner, it'll keep growing in popularity, and that's what we don't want it to get too popular, right?
That's right. Thank you.
Got to keep it low key.
It's actually not even a race, just
right.
so
It's police really stopped? I was like watching on Facebook, and people kept saying the police were stopping people, or no? Did that really not happen?
No,
Okay.
we're friends with the police, and we support all law enforcement and comply with all laws and regulations. Allegedly.
Fred, the first year Art ran the cut before it was like an event, a running event. We were waiting for him in Berlin, and the police officer shows up just as like Art was getting ready to go back out into the woods. And he was like, "What's going on here? I've seen these cars hanging out for a few hours. We had complaints." We're like, "These guys are running 112 miles across the state of Connecticut. They're doing it for fun. We're here to support them. Is there any issue with these cars being here for a few more hours?" And he was like, "What? This dude has some girth I didn't know could fit in a sedan. No offense to the police officer. He was nice as all get out. And he did the classic thing. I wouldn't drive 112 miles, right? They always say that. We're like, listen, we're just trying to get this guy, these runners through this. We're here to support them. We're not trashing. There's no booze. There's no drugs. We're just supporting some runners. You're on a quest." And he was like, "God bless him. God love him." And it was,
and that's
thanks
been
to the Berlin PD.
That's been the overwhelming response that we've gotten from all law enforcement, and even some landowners. Like once they kind of, once we had a chance to talk to them, and also we've taken, if there is somebody that's listening to this now, that is somebody that's a stakeholder in the trail, feel free to reach out to me. If for some reason, if this is, causing an issue or something like that, please reach out to me, because we've made accommodations to people who are on the trail, or, just to become aware, and we're sensitive to the community as well. So, it's a good point, is that we do want to, we understand that the people who, most of the trails are, it's there because the landowners allow the trails to be there. So, we do this as a fundraiser for Connecticut Forest and Parks. And it's kind of out, it's not an official Connecticut, Forest and Parks event or anything like that. So they're not involved in it in any way, except that we give 100% of the proceeds of the race, or the entry fees to the race, right to them. So, that's what it is. So if there's a problem, let me know. Andy, you got a problem with this?
Oh, I only have a problem with you, Art.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Andy. I want to give a special on the air shout out to Andy here, because I know there were a lot of people have thanked their crews, and I've gotten some thanks from people, but it's really their crews who have done most of that. But I want to thank Andy, because he came up to me during the race a couple times and said, "Hey, Art."
The not race.
The thing. When I was
I
standing
didn't know
there
what to call it either.
when I was standing in front of a liquor store at 3:00 in the morning, no, Andy approached me and said, "Hey, what do you need?" And like I said, "No, well, we got this person covering this station, and this is this, and this runner is coming over there, and this is that." And he goes, No. What do you need? What do you need? And what are you eating? When are you sleeping? And so Andy was my personal, crew, like self-appointed personal crew. And he took care of me.
He
And,
needs an Andy.
oh my God, got me through the,
Hashtag RDs need love too.
yeah, there you go.
Aw.
So I don't know. I think that if there's any RDs out there, it's a position that when you're getting the list of volunteers and positions, you should get somebody to take care of you, because when you're doing this, you're out of your fucking mind, trying to do this stuff. And it's like, you like wake up and it's like, oh my God, is somebody finishing and I slept through it, and that happened, and that can happen. So you need somebody to take care of you too, so that you can take care of other people who take care of the other people. So it's so meta that it's like,
It's amazing because, when you're volunteering, right? You don't get paid. RDs get paid, right?
Mhm.
You and I both put on an event a year,
Mhm.
and you do it out of love. And I don't know about you, Art, but I've gotten feedback
Mhm.
that's not necessarily positive. As much as I want to scream, go motherfucking fuck yourself, the customer service side of me is just like, you know, what can I learn from this situation? All right, let me take it in. And then I yell, go motherfucking fuck yourself.
Yeah,
But, you know, I feel like people don't recognize, and even the RDs that get paid, yeah, 3 months down the line when the check's all clear and the balance sheet balances out, yeah, they might have, they're in the black, not the red. But for Christ's sakes, getting into this stuff, even if you're hoping to make money off of it, it's a crapshoot. When you know you're going into it, that you're going to lose money, and I guarantee 100% Art's losing money on this.
Well,
Right?
it all works because you know what? We had sponsors who gave a lot of financial support plus Cultra, our Patreons
Like with all the
actually paid for
fuel
part
and
of this
time that
race.
you're
and that's
putting
great.
in and all of that.
But
But
you know what I
Art
mean.
still-
I know what you mean.
Yeah, you're not drawing a salary.
Yes.
You draw a salary having people go up and down. You don't drive a salary having people go left and right. I mean, they
Yes.
go up and down eventually, but you know what I mean. Like,
Andy, what is your event? I'm not familiar with it.
oh,
I'm just
I
curious.
put on let's call it the CUT112, or the easier way to cross the state, which is the Cross Connecticut Run for Mental Health.
Oh,
Awareness.
okay. How
Yeah.
can I get did not start off my ultra sign up on that one?
Oh.
I signed up for it in 2022 and I was injured. I'm joking, but I didn't know that was the one that you
Oh yeah.
did. That
Hey,
one's
man,
cool because I'm on that
join us
trail all the
anytime. I'll give
time.
you Oreos or a Gatorade, but that's about all you'll get from me because I ain't got shit. I don't get sponsors. But yeah, no, it's you put on an event, you do your thing, you do the best you can, and I don't expect anything in return. I also don't believe altruism exists, but you know what? Like, Art, I don't know if this is the right time to say this on your podcast, but it's amazing. You have you had twice as many runners as I did. And this isn't a competition. I'm just saying, I raised more money than you did.
Oh, okay.
Between the cause that we raised money for my event, and I'm actually pissed about that. Because I'm like, who the fuck isn't coming out for the woods?
Oh, well, I mean,
Yours
do you
is
not
for
support
mental
the
health,
woods?
right? Yours is for mental health.
Right. And I get that. It's a cause. And we have people who deeply committed. I mean, I have runners. The biggest fundraisers at my run tend to DNF. They got a personal connection, but they're not ultra runners.
Right.
People who do the cut, they're ultra runners who are like, oh fuck, there's a fundraising component. So it's a different, they're crossing different paths.
Yeah.
But it's regardless, you've got you're trying to
my
put
race
on
is too short because I charge it. My race is too short because I basically charge $1 a mile. So
that's all I ask for people. I'd be like, give $1 a mile. And
yeah,
they came out in spades this year. It was amazing.
That's great. And no, I don't. It's not a competition, but I congratulations on doing that, because that's awesome. So
yeah, I was stoked. Yeah, it was a big increase over last year and year before, whatever. Anyway, I went off a tangent. I apologize, but end of the day, thank you for recognizing that. And really, RDs need love, and I hope everyone, when they do any event, paid for or not, hug the fuck balls out of the RD.
There you go.
Yeah, hug them.
Hey,
just hug them.
Did you know another weird coincidence is that if you take your race is 57 miles, right?
Yep.
And if you add 57 to 112, what do you get?
169. Holy
You
shit.
get 169,
Holy
which is the
shit.
number of towns in Connecticut.
Yes.
That is very strange. That's cool.
Right? Is it strange or is it very normal?
Yeah.
It's
Something.
Mine should be 56. It had to turn to 57 because the city wouldn't grant me parking where I wanted them to.
And mine, I don't know, mine I said was, I calculated it out to 112. And it may be 112, it may be 18, it may 108, it may be 115, but it's 112 for now. So
Yeah, I can't remember where my watch said. I think it was like 111 and change. You can round it
Okay.
up. Doesn't matter. The buckle says 112, and that's what counts.
So it is getting late here.
Mm.
So Fred, first of all, I want to thank you for, congratulate you and thank you for coming on the show tonight.
Yeah, thank you. It was exciting to join. Like I said, it's exciting to like get to learn and meet new people in the Connecticut running community with trails. So thank you again for having me on.
Oh, glad to have you here. I want to let everybody know that I think tonight we're going to have, I know that CultureBot needs a little bit of money too. So we're going to hire out CultureBot tonight to read the Patreon names. So I think I'll have him do that. I don't want to pay him the overtime though of announcing it now. So we'll have him do that tomorrow sometime. But I want to thank all the crews and everybody who came out and supported the race. For me, it was like being in I think I wrote this on Facebook, and it was like being at a giant aid station where everybody was there asking me what I needed, and Gelato called up and said, "Hey, listen, if I want to support, where's the best place to go right now?" And I said, you could go here or there, but, is there any way you could can you get me a couple bags of ice? And she's like, "Oh yeah, absolutely. No problem." And she went out and got bags of ice and delivered them, and then Ian finishes up the race and then comes back and says, "Hey, by the way, you want some pizza for the finishers?" So he brought 3 pizzas. He showed up with 3 pizzas for finishers there. And he goes, "And they'll like it cold too." And they did. So that was awesome. And, all over the place, one crew wouldn't make it to a place and another crew would step up for them. People were, I had ice. People were giving me their ice and they were going out to Whole Foods to get additional ice. So, wherever it was, I think that everybody helped each other and on the trail and off the trail. And it was really brought out the best, I think, in our trail running community. And, some of the emails that I got and stuff were just, all I do right at this point is have a spreadsheet and, it's just like putting up some sleep, at this point, but it's it's really cool what I think as a group we've all put together here. So really looking forward to next year and doing it again. So
Hey Art, congratulations on cultivating such an amazing thing. You built this, man. Congratulations.
Thanks, Andy. Thank
Yeah.
you. And the race isn't bad either, right? So
It's not a race. It's just a run. It's just
very
a run.
good.
Just a run.
That's
Becky's
right.
eyes are itchy, apparently. Look at that.
It's a what now?
Becky was just itching her eyes. It must be allergy
Yes.
season.
Oh, it's the smoke. Yeah, I
It's the
guess I
smoke.
picked the wrong day to quit smoking crack, right? With all the smoke outside right now.
Yeah.
Okay, not okay, so
Ah,
that wasn't
sucks.
that funny.
Yeah.
So I guess to all of our listeners out there, if you've made it this far, of course, seek professional help. And we will see you all in a mile. All right. All right.
Look at that. I mean,